My fund was called the Royal Fund because of my last name. It was a joke. As you can see, I chose Apple, IBM, Starbucks, Google, and JPMorgan Chase up there. So first was Apple. And it's an American multinational corporation that designs, develops, and sells computer hardware, software, and other consumer electronics. Its best known products, as many of you know, the iPad, the iPhone, iPods, and Mac computers. And it was founded on April 1st, 1976 by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne, and was later incorporated as Apple, it was later incorporated as Apple Computer. And they changed their name in 2007 to just Apple after they released the first iPhone. That sort of showed their shift from a computer-making company into more consumer electronics. So I purchased it because before an upswing in the business cycle, technology stocks generally do well. And when we purchased the stocks, we were at a point right before it was set to rise. And also because I knew of the release of the Apple iPhone 5S and 5C, which I speculated would increase their earnings and thus increase their stock price. So this is their performance here. And over the course of the project, it went from a share price of $483 up until $556. And some news that impacted the stock over the course of this time period. Well, first off, they were involved in a tax evasion, I guess, probably in a sort of predicament, and the SEC decided not to take any action against them for doing this, and they basically were able to save billions in dollars in taxes, and the fact that the SEC didn't take any action against them definitely helped them. And as well, they won a copyright infringement case against Samsung for $290 million, and so both those two things helped contribute to their good performance overall. Next was International Business Machines, better known as IBM. And this is a blue chip company, and with this one I guess I chose to stick to the fundamentals here. And it was actually the only stock I had that lost me money over the course of the project. A little bit about IBM. It's a technology and consulting corporation headquartered in Armonk. It manufactures and markets computer hardware and software, and also offers infrastructure, hosting, and consulting on a variety of different areas, from nanotechnology all the way up to like mainframe computers. It was founded in 1911 as the Computer Tabulating and Recording Company, and later adopted the name IBM in 1924. Also, like Apple, I chose this stock, it's a technology stock, and it was supposed to do well due to the current phase of the business cycle. It didn't, and it also had a potential $600 million contract to help build a cloud infrastructure for the CIA, which it eventually ended up losing to Amazon. And so here's a graph of the performance. As you can see, it obviously lost value over the time of the simulation. And I can attribute this, basically they got hit with a bunch of bad news over the course of this project. It actually lost its position as the heaviest weighted stock in the Dow, so its relative strength versus the Dow dropped. Visa actually took its place. It reported bad fourth quarter earnings, and as well the CIA contract they lost. Next was Starbucks, and it's an American coffee house chain and coffee company. It's actually the largest coffee company in the world. It has over 20,000 stores worldwide in 62 different countries, and over 13,000 of those are in the United States. It was founded in 1971, and since then it's in Seattle, Washington actually. And since then has experienced rapid growth, and since 1987 has actually opened roughly an average of 2 stores every day. They serve hot and cold beverages, a variety of different snacks and pastries, and they even have Starbucks evenings locations where they sell beer and wine after 4 p.m. Now the reasons for the purchase, first was the steady decline in the unemployment rate. And I chose this as a reason to purchase this stock because with more people working, not only do they have more disposable income, but many working Americans have a craving for caffeine when they work. And so with this income, they were able to spend it on coffee. And white girls on Instagram. As many of you may know, anyone who has an Instagram, Caucasian females have a particular affinity for posting Instagram pictures of their Starbucks cups. And so at the time we were purchasing these stocks, it was September. It was almost the peak of pumpkin spice latte season now. And so I've used that information to kind of figure in order to post these Instagram pictures, they must first buy the cups of coffee, which would increase Starbucks' earnings and thus its share price. Here's a graph of the performance over the 10 weeks. And it did pretty well as, well, much of my portfolio besides IBM. And some news that impacted this stock price, they posted very good fourth quarter earnings, and something else that will affect more its future share price is they were also involved in the whole tax evasion thing, and they've actually committed to paying higher taxes next year, regardless of their profitability. So if they do well, that may not affect them so much, but for example, if their profitability goes down, they may end up taking a big hit after committing to paying more taxes. Next was Google, and it's also an American multinational corporation, and it's probably most known for its search engine. But since its inception, it has grown very rapidly, and they have expanded from simple search engine to advertising a variety of different products and other technologies. As it says here, it was founded in 1998 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin while they were studying at Stanford, PhD students actually. And it was founded in Menlo Park, and they later moved to Mountain View and named their headquarters the Googleplex. And the reason why I chose this stock was for I used technical analysis to choose this one. And I included two graphs here. This one down here is for the technical analysis. And basically for the first 3 months before we purchased the stock, it fluctuated between like a high and low of about a 70-point difference. And then, as you can see here, in October, it shot up. And this was actually the best performing stock in my whole portfolio. It gained about $200 on the, well, per share, almost $200 per share. And it gave me about it earned me around $5,000 overall. And the last company I picked was JPMorgan Chase company. It's a blue chip stock. It's one of the big 4 banks in the United States. It was founded in the year 2000 when the Chase Manhattan Corporation and JPMorgan Company decided to merge. Well, as you can see here, its corporate headquarters are in Manhattan, New York, and the banking, both commercial and retail headquarters are in Chicago. And I chose this stock due to the low interest rates, and that means that banks can lend with more frequency. And over the course of the 10 weeks, it also gained money. It was a bit, fluctuated a lot, but in the end, had a pretty nice gain. And some news that affected it over the course of this time, basically faced a whole lot of legal trouble due to its involvement with the mortgage crisis of 2009. And their legal dues coupled with, towards the end here, a decrease in their share prices led to the first decline in profits since 2009. But they still did pretty well given the amount of legal dues they're facing. They had something like a $13 million lawsuit with the Justice Department during this time. And so this is my graph of my total portfolio value over the 10-week period. I gained a total of $10,993.51, and the portfolio as a whole was very bullish, again with the exception of IBM. And that's it.
All right, any questions for Charles King? Questions for Charles King? Charles, tell us about the Starbucks beer and wine bar and how that's going. Maybe you read in the news and evidence. Are they having a lot of success with that? And where are some of these locations? Because I haven't seen any.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure about that. I just read that they do have them some places. I haven't seen any, to be honest. But I guess some people like to drink a Starbucks.
Is that something that you would think would do well for them? I mean, you know Starbucks around here is coffee, tea, and obviously, like you said, some little finger foods.
I mean, I don't really think so. I just don't think when people think of going out and drinking, they think Starbucks. I think that it's more of a, like you said, coffee, tea, like small eats, rather than drinking. But I guess we'll see how they do. If they continue to use those institutions.
Yeah, just for the record, Cozy, which is obviously a competitor to Starbucks, they do have liquor licenses at a number of their locations, and they do sell hard alcohol, beer, and wine as well. New York City, I've been to one where they had that, so I don't know if Starbucks is looking to kind of get in there and stay open much later than they do now.
For your Apple stock, did you notice a significant increase when the 5C and the 5S dropped, or was it kind of just built in?
Yeah, it was just kind of built in. I was looking actually for any type of news for the big increase they had, and nothing related to the phones.
IBM. Why IBM as opposed to all the tech stocks? I mean, you could have bought, I know you bought Apple already, but why IBM, which is a different kind of vibe than IBM, than Apple, in that it's not a consumer product company as much, IBM. Why did you go that route?
Well, it's been around for a long time, and was a blue chip stock, so I guess I sort of assumed that it'd do pretty well with something stable for my portfolio.
Right, and we know they had that bad earnings report and they lost $807 for you. Do you think that'll be a good investment moving forward, or do you think it was just a one-time situation where they had a bad earnings report?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't really think so, to be honest. I feel like lots of other technology companies are a bit outpacing IBM. I was a bit like behind the times in a way.
Interesting, Charles. And if you had to pick one of your 5 stocks to own for the next 10 years, which would it be and why?
I'd have to go with Google. I just feel like they're constantly innovating and coming out with new technologies, new products. It's like one of the biggest companies in the world now, and I just don't see them stopping growth for any reason.
And do you think you're going to be an investor with real money down the road? We have a number of students in here that are already investing real cash money in their E-Trade accounts. In the stock market, do you think you'll be someone like that down the road, or do you think this is it for you?
I'm not really sure. I guess it depends how much money I make with my life. If I have like disposable income to invest in the stock market that I could potentially lose, then yeah, sure. But if not, then I wouldn't. Probably not, no.
Interesting. And did you discuss this project with anyone outside the high school, i.e. family, relatives?
Yeah, my parents.
And what were their thoughts about either the stock market or you getting exposed to the investment process?
I mean, they don't really invest in the stock market, so they didn't give much help really. But they thought it was a good thing to get me, learning about it. So yeah.
And I noticed you didn't buy any stocks that tie in with your track career. We've had a few people buy stocks that deal with their passion or their interests. You didn't pick a stock related to what you do in your personal life. Any reason why?
No particular reason, no.
All right. Any final questions for Charles King?
Is there a reason? Me?
Not yet.
Is there a reason you chose to go with like computer and hardware technology versus the recently very popular biotechnology companies?
No, I don't even think I could name any biotechnology companies. So. Yeah.
All right, let's have a nice round of applause for Charles.